Hello, my name is Kelly Bluen. I am a certified Zentangle teacher. Welcome to my floral series. In these videos, I'm teaching you a new floral or organic pattern each day, Monday through Friday, throughout the month of May. So I am drawing mine first in this little sketchbook that I've got, and then I am adding them to a series of tiles to create a large, beautiful garden. You do not have to have these tiles and do it the way that I am doing it. It's meant just to be more of a series of fun floral and organic tangles that you can do whatever you want with. Okay, so today we've already done days 1, 2, and 3. So today is day 4, and I'm so excited. So I wrote on the back of here what we're going to do. We're going to do Turtra by Ria Matheussen. I'm going to open up my little sketchbook, and number 4. I don't even know if I need to number them in my book necessarily, but number 4 is Turtra. I think that's how you say it. I'm not sure. And Ria is a CZT. Okay, so I've done 3 days of flower type patterns, and now I think it's time to do something a little more leafy, and then we'll continue with some more florals. Okay, so this one is beautiful, and this one I had to play with a few times to kind of get the hang of it. So with any of these patterns that we do, I'm using the step out that Ria posted. I may change things up a little bit to fit my style or the order that I want to go in, but feel free to do the same. If you find it easier to go in a different order, then go ahead. It's okay. All right, so I love this one. This one's going to be long, kind of like a little vine or a weed or something pretty coming up. So I'm going to start down here a little ways. And we begin with a curve. Okay, nice and simple, just a little curve. Okay, so now for the next part, we're going to do this shape. I kind of call it like a backwards S. We're going to go in and then out. Okay, I guess it's a regular S, not a backwards. So we're going to go in and out, and then we're going to come really close and give it a spiral. We want that little in and then that little belly coming out and a spiral. And then from that curve, we're going to come down and give that a stem. And then she adds this little extra, which is a little leaf coming off the side. And it probably doesn't really matter where you put it, but it kind of goes like off of there and then maybe curves around under there. It has just the slightest little line to give it that look that it's a leaf. And that could point more up or down, or you could place it differently, but that's kind of how it goes. All right, I'm going to do the next one, that same, that same series of lines, but instead of going this curve to the right, we're going to curve to the left. So I'm just going to pick a spot on the back end of this one and come up off of there. And now we're doing that backwards S shape where we tip in and out, give it that little belly, curl up into a curly Q or a spiral. Leaving a little bit of space between that and that first line. And then we come down and we give it a stem. Do your little leaf over here somewhere. Isn't that cute? Okay, so I just want to show you that's a great way to make it, is just the curve, that little S shape. But if you want to, or one way that she does it, is instead of starting with that big curve, she starts with the curly Q after that first one. So I'm going to go up and do this little curl. And then I'm going to go up alongside that and do the curve. And then do that kind of S shape and wrap around. So if you want to do that instead, you can. You can do the little curve or curly Q, come up alongside it, come down, and go in, I guess go in there, or maybe go all the way over to here. So whatever order you like better. Put in that little leaf. So another way that you could do it, that one looks kind of like a bird or a duck, doesn't it? That's kind of funny. Okay, another way is you could put your curves in first. And that way you sort of know where it's going. And then you can add in these little elements. Okay, so just a few different ways to get that same cute little shape. Turtra. Okay, let's add it to our tile. All right, so here's our tile. And I think I'm going to go ahead and add one more to the side here just in case it goes over. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Flip that over. So these are 3.5 inch by 3.5 inch Zentangle brand paper tiles. You can get them at zentangle.com. And now I've got 1 and 2 over there, 3 and 4, so I'm going to go this way. We kind of work backwards so that when we flip it, it's the correct way. And then I grab a piece of tape and I tape those together. Okay, then I go back. Look at this beautiful garden we have going. I just love it. So real quick, before I do Turtra, I want to do a quick shading because I completely forgot. Sometimes I just feel like we did it, we're done, and I turn off the video and realize later I didn't shade. So I apologize for interrupting our Turtra video, but on this, I'm going to go so quickly. But on the inside of this little orb, I'm going to add some graphite right along that inside edge. And then when I blend it, I'm going to be pulling it towards the center. And look at how nice and round that makes that look. A little bit of shading as if that circle is kind of rounding down into those petals. And then I'm going to add a little bit of graphite in that bottom tucked in area of each of those little petals. So just a little scratching, a little bit of that. And then we're going to gently push that out into the petal without filling the whole petal. We always want there to be some light or white area. So just the slightest. Isn't that so pretty? I'm going to do it to these little ones up here as well. And this little one. And to the very bottom edge of these leaves. And then just a touch underneath those flower petals at the top of that stem. And that's all I'm going to do. But it adds so much. I'm so sorry I forgot that yesterday. Okay, let's move on to Turtra. All right, so you can go ahead and do this in pencil first if you want to sort of get an idea of where you want it to go. So my thinking is that I want mine to sort of come this way. But I also want one to come this way. So I'm trying to decide, maybe I'll just do like a little one and let it cross over there. I think that's what I'm going to do. And you can keep using pencil for this part if you would like. But I'm going to move on to pen. I'm going to be brave. Okay, so I'm going to start my first curve that way. And I'm just following this line, but I'm curving it different ways. And then I'm going to do that little S shape where I scoop down, out, give it a little belly, and tuck in. I meant to leave more of a space there, and I didn't, but that's okay. I'll bring that pen line down. And then I add that little cute leaf. All right, so I'm going to sort of follow the direction of this. So my next curve is going to be about there. And then I do that backwards S and curl it in. And you have a little bit of control how far out you want that little belly part to go. You can make these larger if you'd like. Okay, now with this stem, I've got a couple of choices. My stem can just go straight down to the edge of this one, or if I want, I could take it down and go alongside this one, just creating a kind of a unique little look. Right now, I'm just going to come down to there. And do that little leaf. Right, this next one I'm going to curve this way, but I sort of want to tip the whole thing a little bit, so I'm going to give it a curve like that. Try to give it a nice wide belly there. And then just for fun, I want to show you if I come off that little spiral and I just go all the way down to that petal. Look at how kind of cool that looks. It just gives it a different little look. So go ahead and do that if you want. And add your little leaf. And make this one go this way. Add my little leaf. Okay, now I'm thinking about continuing up here with one more, but then I also think I'd like to go up this way and add one. I think that's what I'm going to do. Otherwise, I could add another one of these little cirque flowers. I could put one of those up there with a long stem. What do we think? Maybe I'll just finish this way first and do this one, and then we'll see. Okay, always thinking and planning, you guys. So I need, my next line is meant to go this, curve this way. And I kind of want it, I think I'm just going to go right here. I was going to try to lean over that way more, but I don't think it's going to happen. So I'll just go with the flow and go this way. And I'm going to let that one trail all the way down again, just for fun. Okay. Now I have to do this one. So I'm going to start with my curve this way, and I'm going to put the curves in first. Then I'm going to go that way, and that way, and that way. I love when these cross over to the other tiles. Okay, now I'm going to do that little curly Q on each one. And then I have to add in the little stem parts. So that one. And then the little leaves. So, so pretty, so, so cute. I love it. All right, I feel like I want to add another circ in here just because I like the idea of not having like 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and kind of mixing them up a little bit. Another option is to go back and add verruca or the tangle flake right there. But I think I'm just going to do circ, and I'm going to do it kind of quick. And just going to put it, I'm going to do a kind of a small one just to fill up this little space. Put in my curves. And these little flux shapes. And a couple little extra petals in between those ones. I always forget to do the cross hatching, so I need to go this way as well. There we go. And I'm going to let this stem go down, and it's just going to lift my pen every time I get to a little part of that Turtra. And I'm going to match the leaves that I did over here. Just put a couple of those in. Okay, so now I'm going to go back. I can't stop looking at these as like cute little bird faces. They're so cute. Okay, so now I'm going to just add a little bit to this Turtra. It's kind of messy over here. I kind of have a lot of lines going on, and I want to distinguish them a little bit. So one thing that Ria has done on some of hers, which is beautiful, is added a thickening. So that is such a fun technique. So I'm going to begin with this top one up here, and I'm going to thicken this curve. So I'm just going to kind of dip down in there and give that a nice thick line. And then I'm going to thicken the top of that curve. And then where the leaf meets that stem, I'm going to add in this little bit of darkening, and darkening here where this one meets this. So just that little bit of thickening. Do the same thing down here. I can thicken this part and this part. See how that just sort of glues them together, makes them look a little bit stronger. I'm going to add one right there in that little nook. And I'm going to do some darkening on that curve and the top of the spiral. The curve, top of the spiral. And then those little spaces where two lines meet. Just filling in those areas. It's just a fun technique to play with that is not necessary and doesn't have like a specific way to do it. You just get to kind of play and see where you like it. Okay, so some of my tops of my leaves kind of get lost in the stem, so I'm going to extend them out a bit. And then I'm going to add a little something. So over here we have these little extra petals on Cirque, and I'm going to add some of those to Turtra just to sort of bring them together. So I'm just going to find some places to add a couple little petals. So pretty. Okay, over here I'm going to do some thickening in those curves and the top. And then wherever I've got those little lines meeting, I'm going to soften those. And then I'm going to add a few more of those little petals. And I'm going to do some down here on the bottom. All right. I love that. I love that it's kind of a vine. It's kind of floral. It's definitely organic. And I just love how it can build on each other. Such a pretty one. Okay, I'm going to shade it, but I'm also going to add something to the bottom here. So over here we had the boulders, and then we're going to do more boulders eventually, but I do want to add some grass down here. And to do that, I'm just going to make like a bunch of little U shapes. So I'm just going to go up and down. You can make these kind of tall, like that. And I'm going to ink mine in. If you would like to color yours in like a green color, or you want to wait until we do some watercolor one day. So the watercolor, if you have been asking about that, I have a girlfriend who has a watercolor studio, and we are going to do a little collab at the end of the month. And I'm going to show her how to draw some of our tangles, and then she's going to show us how to add watercolor to them. So you don't have to add the watercolor to this piece if you don't want. However, if you would like to wait and add the watercolor later, you can. I think I'm going to just leave mine black and white, but it's up to you. Okay, there we go. What do you think? All right, I'm going to do some erasing and then some shading. So I just want to get rid of a couple of pencil lines that I made. And I'm going to start by shading Cirque just because we already did that. So inside those petals and inside the circle and the bottom of the leaves. There we go. That one is done. And now we're going to shade Turtra. So to do this, I'm going to put a little bit at the edge of the leaf where it starts to touch that curve, because that would create the slightest little shadow. So that edge of the leaf that's against the curve, little tiny line of shading. And then we just push it out at the tiniest bit to give that illusion of a little shadow. And then I'm going to add a tiny bit at the bottom of each stem. And it's going to have the slightest little shadow where that stem tucks into that next little section of flower. And then with my blending tool, it already has some graphite on it. So I'm going to do a little bit inside that one that went on top, but inside that spiral. I'm not going to add it with my pencil. That might be too much, but just a little bit with the graphite that's already on there. And there we go. All right, so I love adding elements from our pattern up on top. So I'm going to do one of these little Turtra single tangles. So I'm going to put a curve down here. And then I'm going to put in that S shape with that curly Q and that. And I'm going to add the leaf on this side. Maybe I'll do a double leaf. A little bit of shading at the bottom and at the bottom of that stem and a little bit in that curve. Cute little element. Okay, let's back up and check it out. What do you guys think? I love it so far, and I love the variations so far. I'm trying purposely to choose things that are a little bit unique, maybe have a different technique to them, and I don't know, that are just fun and things that kind of go together. So I really like this so far, and I'm excited to extend this out and see where we go. All right, thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.